Hello everyone. In today's class, in today's video, we are going to learn about stability of infinite slopes in cohesionless soils. So, what is slopes? And what is infinite slopes? Generally, slopes are of two types: natural, man-made. Okay, so natural slopes generally consists of infinite slopes. What do you mean by infinite slopes? Infinite slopes are nothing but slopes with constant slopes with constant slope and at a constant depth h, the soil properties are equal at everywhere. See, if you take here or anywhere, the soil properties will be equal. What will be the soil properties? C, phi, gamma, these are the soil properties. Okay, C is the cohesion, phi is the friction, angle of internal friction, and gamma is the unit weight. These are the soil properties. These should be same throughout the slope. Then the slope is called infinite slope. Okay, generally what kind of failures occurs in infinite slopes? Transitional failures occurs in infinite slopes. What is a transitional slope failure? Transitional failure is nothing but it will be parallel to the infinite slope. Okay, it may occur in layered soils or homogeneous soils, whatever it might be. It mostly occurs in infinite soils. Okay, next. Cohesionless soils. What do you mean by cohesionless soils? Say nothing but C is equal to 0. Okay, so what is the example of this? Sand. Okay, cohesionless soils example, sand. Okay, in any stability analysis, to consider the stability analysis, we need to consider three conditions of the soil. So first one is dry condition, second one submerged condition, and third one seepage. So actually, why do we get a slope failure? First thing, why do we get a slope failure? Due to gravity, due to seepage, and the third one, earthquake. These are the three major forces due to which we get a slope failure. Okay, so in today's class we are going to discuss about stability of infinite slopes in cohesionless soils. So in order to do the analysis of stability analysis of infinite slopes in cohesionless soils, we need to consider dry, submerged, and seepage conditions. So let us consider first dry condition. So first thing, let us consider a dry condition. Okay, so in dry condition, first let us consider an infinite slope. This is an infinite slope making an angle I with the horizontal, Let us consider a prism A, B, C and D. Let us consider this prism of width, inclined width B. Okay, so if we take the free body diagram of this wedge, soil wedge, it will be like this. Okay, A, B, C, D. So now the inclined length is B. As you know that inclined length of this wedge is B. So the horizontal length would be B cos I. Okay. And what are the forces acting on this wedge? It's nothing but W. Okay. And the two forces on the vertical sides. Because we have separated it. Separate chesam kabatti. We'll get two forces on the opposite sides. Okay, so now weight W and two vertical side forces on the vertical sides, two equal and opposite forces. So since these two are equal and opposite, so they get cancelled. So only force acting on the wedge is W. Okay, only force acting on the wedge is W, weight. How do we get weight? Weight is nothing but unit weight into volume. So what is volume? What is the volume of this wedge? What is the volume of this wedge? Volume of the wedge is nothing but this one, B cos I into H. Height is H, right? H into volume per unit length. Therefore 1. So volume is HB cos I. Since we are dealing about dry condition, we will consider the unit weight of bulk unit weight. Okay, therefore weight will be equal to gamma into HB cos I. Okay, this is the value of weight. This is the value of weight. Okay, this is the value of weight. And now we are going to consider the resolve weight W into two components like normal N and tangential T. Then the force triangle will be weight W vertically downwards, normal N, normal to the inclined slope, and tangential component T parallel to the inclined surface. Okay. Now N is equal to, resolving the components, N is equal to W cos I and T is equal to W sin I. So what do you mean by W? N is equal to gamma HB cos I into cos I. From where it is equal to, N is equal to gamma HB cos square I. Okay, this is the value of N. Coming to T, it will be gamma HB cos I into sin I. We can't change this, so it will be like this. This is the normal force and this is the shear force. So let us consider the normal stresses and shear stresses. So what is normal stress? Normal stress sigma is equal to N by normal force by area of cross section. Okay, so normal force is gamma HB cos square I divided by B, which is equal to gamma H cos square I. And tangential force T is equal to, shear stress is caused by tangential component of weight. So T by B into 1, which is equal to gamma H B cos I and sin I divided by B. This B gets cancelled, which is equal to gamma H cos I into sin I. See, when do we get a shear failure? When do we get a shear failure? When the shear stress is greater than shear strength. When the shear stress is greater than shear strength, slope failure occurs. Okay. So what is the formula for factor of safety? Factor of safety formula is equal to shear strength by shear stress. When shear stress is developed, shear strength is also developed in the slope failure, which is opposing the shear stress. So how do we get shear strength? It is given by the formula C plus sigma tan phi. But in this condition, cohesionless soil C is equal to 0. Therefore, it is equal to sigma tan phi. S is equal to sigma tan phi. So what is sigma here? Gamma H cos square I into tan phi. So what would be the factor of safety now? Factor of safety is equal to S by tau, which is equal to gamma H cos square I into tan phi divided by gamma H cos I into sin I, where gamma H gets cancelled and cos I will be the same. So now factor of safety is equal to tan phi by tan I. Okay, this is the factor of safety equation for dry condition. Okay, do you get that? Now, according to the graphical representation, see, if we consider graph between the shear stress and the shear strength, this is I less than phi, then the slope will be stable. This is I is equal to phi, then the slope will be just safe. This is I greater than phi, which indicates that slope is not stable. Okay, this is the shear stress and shear strain, normal stress. When we draw a graph between the normal stress values and the shear stress value, if we get a graph like this, I is less than phi, then the slope will be stable. If I is equal to phi, then it will be safe. If I is greater than phi, then the slope will not be stable. Regarding the graphical representation, we can represent it like this. Okay. Now coming to the submerged condition. What is the second condition we have? Submerged condition. So submerged condition. So let us consider for the submerged condition. Submerged condition. In submerged condition, everything is same as the dry condition. Only thing that changes is here in place of weight we consider gamma, that is normal bulk unit weight. But in case of submerged condition, we need to replace gamma with gamma dash. So just use this equation. The remaining all is same. So factor of safety is equal to gamma dash h cos square I divided into tan phi divided by gamma dash h cos I into sin I, which is the same tan phi by tan I. Therefore, it is said to be in submerged condition, rather than the unit weight, nothing changes. The factor of safety is given by the same equation as in dry condition. So, it doesn't change much. Okay, factor of safety would be the same. Only the weight and normal stress will be changed. Normal stress and shear stress would be changed. And the third condition is seepage. And the third condition is seepage. Seepage condition. What is the seepage condition? What is the seepage condition? Seepage condition is nothing but, see, for example, when water flows through the slope, it creates some seepage. Seepage flow is created. So this is the infinite slope making an angle I with the horizontal. When the water flows, it creates a flow net. It forms some seepage and creates some flow net. Okay. Inclined width is B. Height is H. Okay. And now let's take the free body diagram of this. The only difference is here, including the N, we get some pore water pressure due to seepage of water. We'll get some pore water pressure due to seepage of water at the bottom of the slope. Okay, this pore water pressure is U kilonewton per meter square, where it creates some uplift force capital U. What is the force acting on the wedge? W downwards, and vertical forces equal and opposite on the vertical sides, which get cancelled. So now resolve W into normal component and tangential component. Normal component is N and tangential component is T. Now the force triangle will be like this. This is weight W downwards. This is N and this is T. Now since U is upwards, uplift force is upwards, now this part would be U and this part would be N. This total one is N. N bar, this would be N bar. N bar is equal to N minus U. That is normal stress, effective normal stress will be normal stress minus uplift force. Okay, this is the free body diagram of the prism ABCD. This is the prism ABCD. Okay, this figure shows the infinite slope with a steady seepage flow parallel to the surface. Okay, this figure shows the free body diagram of the prism of the soil. Forces acting on the vertical side will be cancelled. Okay, now the weight corresponding to the weight W is taken corresponding to the saturated conditions. Weight W is taken corresponding to the saturated conditions. That is, we should replace gamma with gamma saturated. So gamma saturated into HB cos I. Okay. Now what will be the N value? N is nothing but W cos I, which is equal to gamma saturated into HB cos I into cos I, which is equal to gamma saturated into HB cos square I. Okay. Now T will be equal to W sin I, which is equal to W gamma saturated into HB cos I into sin I, which is the same. Okay. Now let us consider the shear stress, uplift force. We should consider the uplift force. Uplift force small u is equal to uplift force is caused by the pore water pressure. At the base of the prism, there is an uplift force caused due to the pore water pressure. What is the pore water pressure? Gamma W into H cos square I is the pore water pressure. What would be the uplift force? Uplift force is gamma W into H cos square I into B into 1. So gamma W into HB cos square I. This is uplift force U. Okay. So now in order to get the effective normal force, N bar is equal to N minus U, where N is equal to gamma saturated into HB cos square I minus gamma W into HB cos square I, which is equal to gamma saturated minus gamma W into HB cos square I. Gamma saturated minus gamma W means is nothing but the submerged unit weight. So it would be written like this. So effective normal stress will be equal, normal force is equal to gamma dash HB cos square I. So from this normal stress, calculate the normal stress N bar by B into 1, which is equal to gamma dash HB cos square I divided by B into 1. So this is nothing but gamma dash H cos square I. So what is the shear stress? Shear stress tau is nothing but shear force, tangential force by sectional area. So what is that? Gamma saturated into HB cos I into sin I. Okay. So here shear failure is caused by the shear stress. So opposite you will get shear strength. Shear strength S is given by sigma tan phi. What is sigma tan phi? What is sigma? Here we got sigma is equal to gamma dash H cos square I into tan phi. So factor of safety is given by shear strength by shear stress, which is equal to gamma dash H cos square I into tan phi divided by gamma saturated into H cos I into sin I. This gets cancelled. So now H gets cancelled. So factor of safety is equal to gamma dash by gamma saturated into tan phi by tan I. This is the factor of safety for stability of infinite slopes in cohesionless soils. Okay, under seepage condition. Under seepage condition. Okay, that's it.